Hello, YouTubers. This is Robert Brizendine 5 here with a deck tech for my Teysa Orzhov Scion EDH deck, my constant work in progress. This deck seems to be sucking up most of my attention. I think just because there's so many possibilities and so many cards that can be used and so many different cards that have to go up against and finding answers for everything. But looking for suggestions. I know I need something like some kind of more card draw, maybe like a Mind's Eye or something, or and then some other stuff like Necropotence or Reanimate, but I don't have those currently. I'm looking for them, but I currently don't have any of those extra. So or any yeah, I think my Necropotence is in really bad shape. I mean, it's an Ice Age one that I got when Ice Age first came out. So anyway, so let's get her done here. So first off, here's Teysa. She's good, exile token generator, sacrifice outlet type thing. She's cheap, black, white, and one, which is cool. I mean, she's not too terribly. I mean, she's a 2/3, which isn't bad for her casting cost. She's got a big butt, so you can equip her and she could hang out for a little while. She doesn't do too much general damage right out of the gate, but I mean, you only need 21, right? So, but she's pretty cool. I mainly chose her for her colors, but let's get to the actual meat and potatoes of the deck. So here we'll put Teysa over there. So for mana base, I've got for dual lands, considering that there's really not too many choices for black-white combo. The ones I have on hand are my Orzhov Basilica and the Isolated Chapel, which I was glad when that came out. I need a Marsh Flats as well because that would come in handy. uh, but yeah, no, the Orzhov Basilica is cool because you can tap it for both black and white at the same time. So for things like Orzhov Guildmage, or if I had, oh, I don't know, Souls of the Faultless is 2 black and 1 white, I think, so I'd only have to tap this and 1 black. So it's kind of nice. So Isolated Chapel, of course, black white. So now we've got a Vivid Marsh, I believe it is. Yeah, Vivid Marsh. I actually all my other ones are kind of in other decks, so I yanked this from a commander set. So it comes in handy. I mean, I don't know how often I'd actually use the charge counter thing, but it's a good black mana base. So black cycle land. Some graveyard hate in the Bajuka Bog. There's a Vivid Meadow. Same thing. What's that? Secluded Steppe? Is that what that is? Yeah, Secluded Steppe. Another cycle land. Of course, all my other stuff is all being sucked up right now, so it's one of the commander ones. Emiria the Skyruin, which is cool. It's another creature return thing if any of my other cards get destroyed. So I have quite a few options to bring stuff back, which is nice. Now for colorless, we got a Reliquary Tower. Needs to be in every EDH deck. This deck kind of punishes my co-players, I guess my opponents, for having, if they have one of these in play and they have those large hands, but it's a pretty mainstay card in EDH, so because you really don't want to get rid of your stuff. Temple of the False God, another one of those kind of mainstays. Tap for 2, which is always a good thing to have. So good mana fixer. Orsova, the Church of Deals. I don't use its ability all too often. I just kind of threw it in to go with the whole Teysa theme. So, which is fine. I don't have an Orzhov signet in here, but I didn't have an extra one. But it's. I mean, if you have any cards with Bloodthirst, it comes in handy. But I don't think I have any Bloodthirst cards in here. So, it's just going with the theme basically. Buried Ruin. Artifact retrieval, so which is a good thing. So Mishra's Factory, Manland. It's I think everyone I play has this card in their EDH deck, so it's just a good manland to have on hand. So quasi fetch lands from Shards of Alara. I don't use the Naya one, but I have 2 that can fetch up swamps the Esper can fetch up a swamp or a plains, but these two, like, I kind of divided it that way. So these two would fetch up swamps for me, the Grixis and Jund panorama, and the Esper and Bant panoramas would fetch up the plains that I'd need. So they work out. They're good, and they produce mana by themselves, which is always nice. Terminal Moraine, same thing, except you have to pay 2 to go search for a land with this one, but it was the only other available fetch land I had on hand. Everything's being used. So, and then I've got 8 plains and 8 swamps. I like to vary the artwork. I don't like looking at the same art over again. I think they're all cool. So anyway, there's my basic lands. So 16 basic lands. I think there's 34 lands total and a couple mana rocks in here. So now for Planeswalkers, I'm using a Karn Liberated. He's a really good late game. I guess there's really late game in EDH is like saying jumbo shrimp kind of. He's a good turn 7 type thing. You can do a lot of stuff with him, especially if you can get his ultimate off. It's pretty fun. He gets taken out pretty quick though, which makes me glad that when you do his plus ability, it puts him way up on the board. It puts him up at 10 loyalty counters. So he can be pretty beefy. He becomes a great big target most of the time though, but he's still good. Elspeth, probably my favorite Planeswalker. Best version of Elspeth. She has no downsides. She is, you can make tokens. Next turn you can pump them up and make them fly, and then when you pull 8 loyalties off, you can make everything indestructible. So you can't fail with Elspeth. She is probably one of her and Ajani Vengeant from Shards are probably the 2 best Planeswalkers that have been printed, at least for strategic purposes. And in my opinion, I know people will probably say, oh, it's probably Jace 2.0, Mind Sculptor, blah, 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 and all these other ones. But these guys are strategically good, especially every aggro deck I built with Elspeth in it. It was super quick because she has nothing but upsides. So same with Gideon. He's got nothing but upsides. He's not my favorite, but he works as a great 6/6 beat stick when it comes down. And just destroying other people's creatures is always good. So Liliana Vess, I mainly use her as a tutor. And in the case of my Debtor's Knell, when I force people to discard, hoping that they get rid of a creature that I want from their hand. So I can get it with Debtor's Knell. But she's mostly a tutor. She's probably one of the best tutor things I can think of. Obviously there's demonic and vampiric and yada yada yada, and diabolic and enlightened and whatever. But for the fact that you plus her 1, so then you can tutor 3 times with her. Her sole purpose in here is for being a tutor. If I have her in my hand at the same time, I usually play Vest first, so I can tutor up the stuff I need, and then when she's gone, then I play Liliana the Veil. I did a play test finally with her in here. It's interesting. I'm kind of on the fence with Liliana. I had a Sorin in here, but he's too expensive, and he was always taken out right away because no one wants you to take their turn. No one wants you to take their life and gain life, and no one wants to go down to 10. I never used that. It's just this deck is mean, but that's too mean. But it worked out okay. I'm not sure yet, so I'm kind of on the fence. I may put a Johnny Goldmain back in. I'm not sure, but anyway, she works out okay. So at least against the people I play against, she's kind of okay because we're all kind of tricky players. So got an Identity Crisis. Get rid of target player gets rid of their hand and graveyard. Really good if someone is really, really, really bothering you, and they're like, I got one dude who I'll go down to the card shop and play against, and he's pretty cocky, and I haven't played him yet, and I'm just want to drop this on him just so he'll be quiet. He does a lot of graveyard recursion stuff, and usually has some pretty nifty cards in his hand to keep him alive for a while, but it's a good card. So Debtor's Knell. This is where Liliana and this work great together. This in general, any discard outlet, taking from anyone's graveyard a creature that you want. Say someone's got an Avatar of Woe that you want. Someone's got a Lord of Extinction in their graveyard that you want. Whatever. Kokosho, Kiki Jiki, whatever. You just put it out under your control. So, which is really, really cool. So you can, yeah, it's just an awesome card. So Debtor's Knell's an awesome card. I may swap him out. I'm not sure yet, but he was just kind of in there in keeping with the theme as well. The Orzhov Guild Mage. You can gain life or ping opponents each. And I may keep him in if there's some Bloodthirst cards I may put in from the Ravnica block, not any of the new Bloodthirst cards. I don't know. I didn't like them too much, but the older Bloodthirst cards I may put them in with him, because then if you're damaging the character or the opponent, you get the Bloodthirst effect. So. Souls of the Faultless. If it's dealt damage, you gain life equal to the damage dealt to it, which is good. Good way to gain life. Agent of Masks. Beginning of my upkeep, every opponent loses 1 life, and I gain life equal to life lost in that way. Awesome card. Usually gets taken out pretty quick, but still an awesome card. Vectus Dominator. Keep creatures tapped down unless an opponent pays 2 life. 9 times out of 10, they actually pay the 2 life, which works out for me. So, it's mainly kind of one of those, just take every life lost counts. So, Chimeric Mass. It's actually served me quite well. If you hold on to it for a little while, you can drop them down for 5, and you've got a 5/5 for 1, basically. You summon him whenever you need him. So, it's kind of cool. Solemn Simulacrum, self-explanatory. Draw a card, get land. Every deck's got it. Same with this, Darksteel Ingot. Every deck's got it. Mana Rock. Here's another Mana Rock, a Mind Stone. I don't remember what set that is. But, yeah, I don't remember what set that is. But, it's a good Mana Rock. Same with this one, Coalition Relic. It's a great Mana Rock. I've got one in every one of my EDH decks. So, it produces all the colors, and you can put charge counters on it and whatnot. But I don't use the charge counters too much. So, here's part of my pain suite, as it were. Got the rack, punishing people for going. I think it's deals 1 damage to opponent for each card fewer than 3. So they can't go below 3. The Vice punishes them for going above 4, and then the Iron Maiden, 1 damage to target player for each card more than 4. So these two do more than 4. This is less than 3. So this one's kind of pricey, but I know they changed the text on these two in, I think, the last time they were printed. I haven't looked into it yet, but I'm going to. I think they changed the text on them. So, but I'd have to go with the text that's on these. But, it's just punishing people for having cards more or less than in their hands, which is kind of mean, but it works. I just swapped this in the other day, and it actually did pretty good. Grimoire of the Dead. It's, I'm one of those other cards I'm on the fence with. I'd rather have, like, an Extraplanar Lens, a Mind's Eye, something like that, or a Necropotence Reanimate, yada. So, but it worked out okay. I like it. It's a good card. So, Sculpting Steel, I generally use it to copy, like, say, someone's got a Nev's Disc out, someone's got an O-Stone. 9 times out of 10, I actually copy a Phyrexian, or not Phyrexian Arena, but Howling Mine, or something like that, just to make things interesting. Because when people, it's funny to see the looks on people's faces when they have to draw all these cards every turn because someone's got a Howling Mine out or whatnot, and it's forcing people to draw cards. Most people don't like it. If I have the Rack, the Vice, and the Iron Maiden out, I will copy a Howling Mine, just so people start drawing in cards and having to take damage. So, it's fun. Sculpting Steel is a very versatile card. Eldrazi Monument. +1/+1 on flying and indestructibility. You can't fail. And with all the token generation stuff I have in here, come on, you can keep it running. Speaking of token generation, got a Nuisance Engine, 0/1 pest tokens. So, Library of Lang. If anyone forces me to discard, or the Liliana effect making me discard, I can discard to the top of my library. So if I want to keep that card, I can just put it on top of my library. So kind of cool. It's an old card. Actually, I remember when I was actually at before F&Ms and whatnot. There used to be a card shop here called Cooperstown. Um, and I actually was playing a tournament back when the tournaments only cost $3 to enter. And I pulled this card out. So it was kind of cool. Norn's Annex. It's like a Ghostly Prison, except you have to pay either 2 life or 1 white. So it works out pretty well. I use it with the Ghostly Prison I have in here. So, see, for equipment, I got a Scythe of the Wretched. Kill other people's creatures, take them, and equip it to this. You know, it's nice. So, Trepanation Blade works out extremely well in EDH because so many people have so many high-cost cards. So, you know, if someone's got, I don't know, a Progenitus in their, not as a general, but in their library, and it's, you know, 2 of each mana, that's 10. So, you know, it works out good. Nim Deathmantle. It's really good for creatures of mine that go into the graveyard. I can get them back and equip this to them, make them strong. And it's all shiny. Skull Clamp, staple in all EDH decks, mainly card draw, and that's its only real purpose. I usually use Elspeth or the Nuisance Engine or whatever token generators I have and just kind of set this next to it and it automatically equip right away. So just for card draw. Lightning Greaves, staple in all EDH decks. I have oodles of playsets of these. They're in one in every one of my decks. Grappling Hook is also in a couple of my decks too. Double Strike is probably one of the best things in the world. That and forcing a specific creature to have to block you. So you can send them to the graveyard and get them back with Debtor's Knell. So, you know, just one of those cool things. Got a Board Wiper in white now. Got a Day of Judgment. Board Wiper. Another Board Wiper, but has a bonus effect. You get a XX creature equal to, was it the casting cost or the amount of creatures that were destroyed? One of the two. So, pretty good Board Wiper. Spot removal, got a Swords to Plowshares. You know, preventative measures, got a Silence. More spot removal in Path to Exile. This is cool. Leyline of Sanctity. Can't be the target of spells and abilities. Is that what it is? Spells or abilities your opponents control, which is good. I had before I put my Debtor's Knell in here, I had a Leyline of the Void in here as well. But it is counterproductive to have both in here. So in favor of the Debtor's Knell, I took out the Leyline of the Void because I don't want to exile people's creatures. I want to take them. So I may take this out too. I'm not sure. Unquestioned Authority gives one of my creatures protection from creatures. So it's a decent card though. Could draw a card from it too. Journey, you know, exiling. Here we go. Ghostly Prison. For each creature, target player has to pay 2 to attack me. So if they've got like 10 creatures attacking me, they'd have to pay 20 mana. So yeah, you know. Castle. Every untapped creature I have gets +0 +3, which works out really good, especially in the case of Teysa. If I use her to block, she becomes a 2/6, which is pretty good. That's the only reason I have it in here, and I don't think I'll ever take it out because I have some pretty puny creatures in here, but giving them bigger butts makes them pretty decent blockers. So, you know. O-Ring. One of those other just kind of staple things in pretty much everything. So, here's, this is a Kithkin card, one of the older ones. I don't know what edition. I think 4th. I'm not sure. But she can only be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. So you can equip her, and you can send her in, and she can't be stopped unless they've got like a token or something, or like an Eldrazi Spawn, or some little tiny creature to block it. And, oh, excuse me. I don't think anyone I play against has anything below a 3/3 in their decks. So this works out really well. It's kind of cool. She gets taken out pretty quick too, but you know, she's just fun to have. This one I'm on the fence too. I may take her out. Commander Isha. She actually she was a general of mine. I had a white EDH deck and she was my general. But she's got flying and protection from creatures. She's a good card, but Another one I may take out in favor of something else. I'm not sure yet, though. So I may replace her with a Baneslayer or something. I'm not sure. We'll see. Valor, I find a way to send him right into my graveyard right away because he gives all my guys first strike when he's in the graveyard. So yeah, he's one of those things you just dump in the graveyard right away. So yeah. There's I don't remember what the black one was. If any of you guys know, let me know. I don't remember what the black one was because there was like Valor, isn't there like Anger or Rage or something like that, or I don't remember. There's a whole bunch from that series. I think it's Judgment. Admonition Angel, O-Ring on a stick, except she's a pretty good beat stick. And there's ways to get land in almost every turn with this, so you can start exiling stuff, willy-nilly. Disadvantage, though, is when she leaves, everything exiled with her comes back, but usually by that time, it doesn't really matter. So, but she's good. I mean, she's a 6/6 flyer. So, Battle Grace Angel, Lifelink, Exalted. I mean, she gives other people. You gain when a creature you control attacks alone, it gains lifelink. I mean, if a creature attack, it gives creatures lifelink. So, it's actually a really good card. I mean, before Baneslayer came out, this was kind of the mainstay. Like, you had Battle Grace Angel, not Baneslayer Angel. So, that's a good card. Okay, we got a Beacon of Destiny. It's one of those quick kind of something big's coming at you and you don't want to die or take that much general damage. You send it to this guy. Just tap her and then redirect all the damage to him. So, it's a good card. I got a couple of these in a trade recently. Ironically enough, I was looking to get a couple. So, anyway. Okay, here we go on to black. Of course, got a Demonic Tutor. Yeah, tutor card. I usually actually, if I have this, I usually use it to tutor up my Liliana Vest so I can do more tutors. So it really depends on the situation. If she's already out, I'll use it to tutor up something else. It depends on the situation. Beacon of Unrest, pretty self-explanatory. It should be in every DH deck that runs black. Yeah, right. One of my favorite removal cards. You got Ashes to Ashes. Granted, it does damage to you, but for that price, you take out 2 creatures. So, I mean, if someone's got, a Blightsteel coming at you or Omnath or something, you can get rid of them pretty quick. So, it's kind of nice. And the 5 damage is worth the risk. So, this is another one I may swap out because I don't run Thrall cards for it to be truly effective. Soul Exchange. If you run a Thrall card, the creature you bring back gets +2/+2. I may throw in a Thrall, like an Armor Thrall or a Vassal Thrall or something, just to have that effect, but to set that up would be, it would be almost a waste of tutors. So I may swap this for like a Doomblade or something. I'm not sure. I'm looking for suggestions. Please feel free. This one I will never swap out just because it is such a fun card. Choice of Damnations. So cool. If you guys run black, it costs 5 and 1. It is just a fun card. It's mean, it's cruel, but it's fun. I mean, a person can either have just 1 permanent left or go down to 1 life or, it's cool. It's cool. Diabolic Tutor. Another tutor. So, yeah. Simulacrum, another one of those redirect damage to one of my creatures cards, which comes in handy a lot, especially with the general damage rule. So, here's an older Terror. It's not one of the original ones, but it's an older one. Basically, I guess you'd call it the original Doomblade, but good spot removal. So, Phyrexian Rebirth, or Reclamation, I'm sorry. This is a good way to get creatures back from the graveyard. I may swap it. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm looking for suggestions here. But, you have to pay 2 life, but you can get the life back with some of the lifelink stuff. But it works out pretty good if you don't have certain things out. But as soon as certain things come out, this becomes kind of irrelevant. That's my main problem. So, Painful Quandary, punishing people for playing spells. Probably the only time this card is actually useful is in EDH. So, Here's a good creature return. This is what made my Phyrexian Reclamation kind of useless, because as soon as Sheldred comes out, the Phyrexian Reclamation, I mean, I don't need it. So, but at the same time, if she gets taken out, I still need the Phyrexian Reclamation. See where my problem is? So, yeah. Sheldred, she's great. I mean, come on. Her, at the beginning of your upkeep, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player sacrifices a creature. She works so well with Debtor's Knell. It's insane. I love it. I usually end up putting Unquestioned Authority on her. I don't have any other things that make her hexproof. I need something that makes her hexproof, basically. Or it gives her Shroud. And I can't think of anything other than Whisper Silk Cloak, because I don't know if there's anything in white or black off the top of my head. So if you guys know, please let me know, because I would willingly sacrifice anything to make her have Shroud. I may end up just putting a Whisper Silk Cloak in here just so she can stay around, because she works so good with Debtor's Knell. Omnixilus the Fallen is just one of those mean cards. I mean, making a person lose 3 life and him getting 3+1/+1 counters. He gets out of control pretty quick, though. I actually had him in, I think when Zendikar came out. Yeah, because he's from Zendikar. I had him in a Hedron Crab mill deck where I ran Archive Traps, Hedron Crabs, Colony Heart Expeditions, and things like Rampant Growth and Terramorphic Expanse. And this guy got super out of hand super quick. 9 times out of 10, I didn't even actually have to attack with him. I would either mill people to death or use his effect to kill people pretty quick. So, I mean, especially with the Colony Heart Expedition and this guy, and Rampant Growth and Harrows and things like that, this guy got super out of control. So, Yawgmoth's, Order of Yawgmoth. Yeah, no, this card's awesome. It's got Fear, and it forces people to discard. So, I would probably never take this out just because it's got Fear. And most people can't stop it. So, Reaper of Sheldred is a really good card. Whenever it takes damage, a player gets that many poison counters. So that actually works out pretty well. And it's shiny. So, yay. It's a really good card. So, yeah. Here we go. Old School Hypnotic Spectre. I've got so many of these things, but same thing. You know, it's got discard and flying. So, and it's cheap. You equip it, get it in, force people to discard, get the cards. This is probably one of the most underrated cards from Ravnica, the Thought Picker Witch. You pay 1 and look at the person's library and get rid of one of the cards. So, I mean, it's a 1/1 for 1, and her ability is super awesome. I may actually put some of these in my trade binder. This one's probably the one that's in the worst shape. Let's see the white on it, but the others are in really good condition. This is just a really, 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 really good card. So, and then I think, yeah, this is the last one. Phylactery Lich, a 5/5 for 3. I'm on the fence with this one too. I mean, I've got ways to make everything invincible so it can't go away. But I had a card called Ishan's Shade in here. It was more expensive, but it had protection from white. So, and since everyone's running like Day of Judgments and Paths to Exile and Swords of Plowshares and Oblivion Rings and yada yada yada, it actually came in handy because it was harder to get rid of. So, I mean, granted, this is indestructible, but, you know, the Ishan Shade was kind of, I don't know, and it was a cool card. Anyway, so that's my Teysa Orzhov Scion deck. Please, I'm looking for suggestions. Put them up. I'll take them all. Be mean if you want. Whatever, it doesn't bother me. I'm at an impasse here. The way it plays really well. But I'm there's some cards on my want list. So if you see any of those, you have any, hit me up. Please, lots of suggestions. So anyway, until next time, YouTube.